Hey everyone, Ms. Tech here, back finally for the last answers video. I have to apologize because I did not expect me to take this long putting out this last video. The release of Wildstar was awesome, and apparently every single person I know has a birthday in June, so I've been pretty busy in real life. But don't worry, I'm here. We're gonna answer these last couple of questions. And again, if you don't hear your question in the video, be sure to let me know in the comments and I will definitely respond to you with typing, because that's easier than making videos to answer questions. Who knew? I obviously didn't. But anyways, let's get started. First question is from Robert. He asks, who is responsible for the quality of your videos? Script, content, music, slow-mo, etc. You are looking right at her, or I guess listening at her. So I write all my scripts, I record all of my own footage, I obviously play my character, and then I edit everything into the final product that you guys see on YouTube. So recently I have been getting help from my FC mate, whom you might recognize from the different viewpoints in some of my videos now. He's a pretty famous vegetable. So if you've noticed a slight increase in quality of my videos, you can target all of your thanks to Bok Choi of Behemoth server. Be sure to send him all of your creepy tells because he loves that stuff. RC Willia 26938 asks, I'm sure I'm not the first person to ask this, but are you still going to do those job guide videos? Yes, I'm so glad you asked this, and this has been the most common question that I've received over the past few months, at least since I released that video saying that I would be doing all of this. And this is like the perfect place to sort of let you guys know what's going on with that. So back in December when I first made that video, I had the warrior guide pretty much up and running, ready to go. And not 2 days after I posted that video, the patch notes came out where they decided to completely revamp the warrior class and change a few of their abilities. So seeing that, I was kind of disheartened because I had put some effort into making the original guide and it was all changing. So I got pretty butthurt for a couple of days and I decided that, oh, it was stupid, like what's the point? I'll just have to wait until the patch comes out and I have to wait for all of the changes because who knows, you know, I was all doom and gloom. And in that time where I was just sort of grumpy and waiting to see what was happening, a lot of other amazing YouTubers put out their own class guides. So we had Sheephead CG, we had Mr. Happy put out his class guides, and they were all amazing. So looking at that, I realized, holy crap, like there are people much better at this game than I am, making much better guides than I could possibly, and doing it way faster than I could possibly imagine. So, you know, it kind of made me think a little bit harder about it because I kind of feel like it's not worth me investing the time to do something like that when it already exists. I can't imagine that I'd be able to bring something more to the table than already is out there. And I'm also very limited with my time. So I kind of have to pick and choose what I want to keep doing. And I think guides are going to always be the top priority because I love doing them. And all the other stuff will probably depend on either what you guys really want to see and what I think could benefit the community the greatest. So I'm not ruling it out completely. I would still love to make guides like that. It's just, I need to be convinced that I can bring something to benefit people. Otherwise, there's no point in me taking the time to even consider doing it. So you guys let me know what you really want to see, and again, I'll see what I can do. Next question is from Kuro. How long does it take to make one guide? Ooh, this is a question where I get to make excuses for why I am so slow at posting videos. I'm totally kidding. I'm not gonna make excuses. It really depends on the type of guide that I'm making, but the ultimate factor usually lies in how long it takes us to either kill the boss or run the dungeon. Basically how long it takes me to get the amount of footage that I'll be comfortable with to make into a cohesive guide, which sometimes it takes quite a long time. As for the actual video making process, I usually divided it into a couple of nights. So the first night I'll do the script writing and the audio recording and editing, and the next night I'll slap all that together and start to piece together all the tiny clips that end up becoming the full guide, which can take anywhere from 1 to 2 nights. So on average, once I get all that footage, it takes me anywhere from 2 to 3 days, sometimes a week depending on how lazy I get. But most guides do take a fair amount of time. I've noticed that the more I rush, the more mistakes I make, so I try to sort of pace myself. Sometimes I force myself to even wait before posting a video just to make sure that I have everything ironed out and, you know, it's the best possible video that I could possibly put out at that time. Jimmy asks, can you do a gameplay video? Sure. What kind of gameplay video would you like to see? Angel Boy. Oh, I get it. Angel. Maybe? Anyway, they ask, your runs are seemingly flawless in the dungeon guides. How many tries did it take you to get the more difficult challenges down before you released a guide on it? Or are you just that good? Do you even have to ask this question? It's obviously because I'm that good. Which is a complete lie. Most dungeons I've found not to be too challenging. Even in full pugs, usually the people that I get paired up with are awesome, so never really found the dungeons to be that big of a challenge. As for raid guides, my videos are obviously heavily edited so that you don't see us wiping for 5 hours each night before we finally kill the boss. I kind of gave you guys a glimpse when I did that Titan Extreme blooper reel, and I was thinking of doing that again for turn 9 because it's pretty hilarious how badly we die constantly. But yeah, what you see in the video is, again, just the best, the cream of the crop, if you will. I'm obviously not going to show you thousands of deaths unless we learn something from it, or unless I can teach people how to avoid certain things. A lot of what you're seeing is just edited in such a way to help the most number of people, while also making myself look good. Salivora asks, how and why did you start? What was your motivation to make videos? And why did you choose this format? So I've always sort of done random trailery videos for previous guilds, and I've always enjoyed video editing and, you know, doing it as a hobby and practicing silly little things here. And so I thought, why not put that to good use and make guide videos, you know? Instead of just making a kill video with some snazzy music in the background and a cool intro, why not break it down and actually do something useful? As for motivation, I don't really know what really pushed me into actually doing it because I'm a pretty lazy person, so for me to actually start something, I don't know, I can't think of a specific reason why I started it. I just wanted to see if I could do it, and I guess it just ended up being too much fun that I just kept doing it. As for why I chose the format, I think it's mostly because of the way my brain works. So when I'm learning something or trying to teach someone else something new, I do it in a very specific format. Like, I kind of have to know what each little thing is first and the reasoning behind everything. So the format that you see me using is basically just how I think about certain mechanics or encounters in my head. So I hope I'm not a crazy person and the way I present things actually makes sense to a lot of people. If you ever find something crazy confusing or I'm not explaining something properly, just let me know. I live inside my head, right? And sometimes I can't see past my giant nose, so it helps to have that constructive criticism. Ice Indra asks, even though I enjoy your guides to Final Fantasy XIV, is there any possibility of any other game in the future or even just boss/dungeon runs? There is a high possibility. I am looking towards starting guides for WildStar. Is there anything in particular you're looking for, a specific game? Depending on what it is, I'd love to try. Obviously, my time is very limited, so if you recommend me some obscure game that's going to take me hours to learn and therefore make a guide for, you might not get that video, but, it doesn't hurt to try. So just let me know what you want to see, and I'll let you know if I can do it. The Rave asks, is there a chance that some older guides will be updated to reflect the changes of 2.2 and further? I have noticed going into Duty Finder and doing turn 4 or turn 5 that a lot of pugs do have different strategies than if they had been progressing through the content. So that's actually a pretty good idea, doing like a quick video where you touch base on each turn boss and talk about what's different compared to my previous guides. So I'll consider it. That's actually a really awesome idea. And I'm sure it'll help a lot of new players coming into the game as well, so that's always a plus. Kevin asks, how do you learn your dungeons and primals? A lot of the times going into the fight, we have a general idea of what to expect. We're not on the bleeding edge of progression, so we're not trying to figure things out on our own most of the time. Usually our super savvy raid leader does have a general idea of how we're going to handle each mechanic, and then once we're in there, we sort of tweak it to what suits us best. And we wipe a lot and make a lot of mistakes until we finally get it down. That's probably the biggest contributor to how we learn everything, just constantly doing it wrong until one day you do it correctly. CrewGuy28 asks, would you please consider making videos after live letters going over the new things to come? This is probably the only suggestion I will say no to, mostly because thousands of people already do this. You know, Mr. Happy does it all the time. And the information is pretty much already presented in a pretty easy to read way, so I can't imagine that a video would be even worth the trouble to make it in the first place. So sorry, CrewGuy28, but doesn't seem like I would have much fun doing it, so I probably won't. Kenna Does asks, why no Moogle X video? This is going to make you think I'm a weird person, because Moogle X and I, actually Moogle Hard Mode and X and I, have the worst relationship ever. I cannot stand that fight. And I think it stems from when the hard mode originally came out. I went into a blind pug, not knowing anything, and I went as a healer. So everything was happening all at once, and you know, explosions were happening. There were like 1,000 telegraphs, there were 1,000 Moogles everywhere, and everyone was getting hit by everything, and it was an absolute nightmare. So ever since then, I've just had this horrible taste in my mouth. I have like PTSD when I think of Moogle anything. So I hate it. So I try to avoid it as much as possible. However, if you guys really, really want a Moogle Extreme guide video, someone previously suggested that we do some sort of, you know, community raid group or something, and I would totally be open to doing that if you guys wanted to do Moogle Extreme as that, and then I can make a video out of it. But by myself, I do not want to do it, so please don't make me do it. Hebert asks, who does the background music for your guides, and what happened to the Cutter's Cry guide? All the information about the music that I use for every single one of my videos is always in the description, so if you are ever looking for the artist or the song name, it's all in there. As for Cutter's Cry, I don't know what you mean by that. What's wrong with it? What happened to it? It's there. I might need a bit more clarification on that question. Now, a lot of people have asked about streaming, whether or not I do it, if I plan on doing it, why not, all of that. So currently I do not do any streaming. However, there are a few people in our FC that do stream. Their Twitch information is on my channel. If you ever want to check them out and, you know, watch us wipe for 4 hours on the same boss over and over, it's very exciting. As for myself, I don't see myself streaming anytime soon. I generally don't have much of an interest in it, but if there's, you know, an astoundingly large amount of interest from you guys, I might consider it, or I might do like buddy streams, or, you know, is that a thing? I don't know. I'm a grandma when it comes to streaming, so we'll see. Again, I won't rule anything out. Alright, so that looks like most of the questions. If either I missed your question or you posted your question after I made my cute little spreadsheet here, just be sure to ask the question if you still want an answer to it, because I will definitely respond to you in the comments below. I just probably won't make an answer video ever again because this was exhausting. Holy crap. But again, thank you so much for everyone's questions. It was actually a lot of fun answering all of these. As much as I complain about how long it took, it was great, you know, it was really interesting to read some of the questions that you guys came up with. So I really appreciate you guys taking the time to even ask me questions in the first place. It's really cool. So as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and let me know if you have any further questions. Till next time.